Okay, guys, so this is, if you're watching this on the clip out, this is a clip out from our main live show that we do every Tuesday night. We go live somewhere between 8 and 8:30 p.m. Every single Tuesday. We talk about movies, shows, news, everything like that. And we are going to break down our thoughts on Killers of the Flower Moon. I'm going to warn you right now, there might be some light spoilers, but it is actual events that happen and everything. But I feel like to get into some of this stuff, we're going to have to talk about it. That being said, if you're not going to see the movie, watch this. If you still are going to see the movie, I think still watch this. I mean, if you haven't seen it at this point, you know, we're going to talk about some of the stuff that goes down. But like I said, it's not a big movie that, like, you can spoil because it's all a matter of actual historical fact. But let's get into it. And we have not really shared our thoughts on the movie. We watched it together, and then we just kind of went our separate ways. I don't even know what you gave it.
You're first.
Oh,
you're
you
going
want me to
first,
go? Okay.
my friend. Yeah.
Honestly, man, I thought about it a lot. I don't really think I like this movie. I don't think it was a very good movie. I mean, I think it was obviously positives. Let's start with positives right off the bat. Cinematography, tick, excellent. Set design, period, costuming, everything like that. Lily Gladstone's performance is incredible. One of my biggest issues with the movie is that she's not in it enough. And I've thought about this movie in such detail and talked about it with so many of my coworkers that I'm like, I have so many like what if scenarios that we are not going to have time to get into all of them today. But just one of them is that movie starts with Lily Gladstone voiceover, and I was like, if you had just carried that voiceover through the whole movie, it's a way of having her presence be felt throughout the movie without actually being on necessarily being on screen. I think De Niro's doing a really good job. I think to no fault of his own, I think Leo just feels a little like, whether it's kind of feels like I've seen him do this kind of thing before, or honestly, man, I think I gotta just cut to it. My biggest problem with this movie, I think, is the direction. I really think that Scorsese kind of fumbled this one. I think it feels very unfocused, very I don't know. I think he thinks that he's saying a thing that the movie is not saying. And I think that there's a lot of people out there that actually feel like the movie is saying the exact opposite thing. And that is that, you know, I feel like this movie was touted as this incredible, from the Osage perspective, or not even from, because you got to be honest with yourself. De Niro and DiCaprio are the main characters of this movie. It's not an Osage person. As much as Lily Gladstone is in it, Molly is not the main character. But that it is going to be a movie exploring the Osage perspective. I don't go all the way to it felt exploitative and it felt almost treated lightly. But you know, I think about Goodfellas, and that's the typical Martin Scorsese guy goes into the life of the mob, big, you know, rise to prominence, and then the fall from grace. The difference is, and then the cool montages of the mobsters, you know, bumping each other off and stuff. The difference is those are mobsters who are criminals, you know, taking out criminals. Wolf of Wall Street. Everybody loves watching Jordan Belfort get up to stuff. Those are terrible, yes, but they are financial crimes, you know, that he did go to prison for and everything like that. And then otherwise it's him hurting himself in that movie. This movie, I actually got a little upset like watching it. There's like a killing montage in this movie, and that's just like really bad people killing civilians. Like, that's it. That's just what it is. And I felt like it really treated it, like I said, I don't think there was intentional malice or anything like that. I just think it really treated it lightly. And to me, that just left me a little unsettled. And then I really think that the ending of this movie, like, frays out and just like spirals out into like nothing. Go.
Did you like the radio thing?
No. I did not.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I didn't listen. I liked it, and okay, I guess we're gonna.
I thought it
guess
was a cool idea.
I only had two what ifs, and I guess we're gonna get into both of them because you did bring up the radio thing. So my idea was to kind of kill two birds with one stone. Was give Lily Gladstone this, like, you kind of see her get in the hospital and she's getting her strength back, and you're doing all this, and it's just to kind of have her sit there and be like present. You know what I mean? I give her a big moment in the trial to be like either defend her husband or call him out for something, or have an outburst or something. I'm not a writer, so I'm not gonna say that I know exactly what this would be. But one second, just
sorry.
No, you're fine. Just give her some big moment, and then boom, end the movie and say, and then Molly got everything she wanted, and the guys went to prison, and it was all good. Then smash cut to black, and then give the real facts on stage. When the end of the movie is he going to testify? Oh, he's going to testify. No, he isn't. Yes, he is. And then 4 seconds later, they're like, actually, it didn't matter anyways, because they both went to prison, and then they got out, and they lived happily ever after.
And nobody cares.
And yeah, like, it just felt like that to me. I did like Marty being in it, though. I did like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, that's a very long thing.
No, just a counterpoint about kind of the big moment you're talking about. Yeah. She doesn't really. Now, could one argue that her moment is kind of at the end where she wants Ernest to tell her the truth and he doesn't? Where she's kind of questioning him and she gets her answer and she walks away. Could one argue that's her moment, I guess? And I'm not trying to make that argument. I'm just saying. I'm just, playing.
I think that somebody could argue it. I don't think that's a very solid argument. I mean, I feel like even in that scene, I think the characterization of Ernest is another very big issue in this, where I don't know at the end of the day, I don't know if the movie is trying to tell me that this guy was manipulated and feels bad, or if he was not manipulated. If I still don't know that answer. So
I think it's no, I think it was both. Personally, watching it, I felt as though he knew what he was doing, but he's also an idiot. And he loves that money. He said, "I love that money, sir. I do." So he knows what he's doing, and I think you kind of go back and forth with the they love each other, but he's also like, yeah, but I want to do this stuff and make money and all the So I think it's kind of those two counterbalances going back and forth. I'm with you on a lot of those points, I'd say. I think I liked it more than you. I will say I liked it. I didn't love it. For all the things you just said, I do feel like Lily Gladstone kind of takes a back seat about halfway through.
Yeah.
Maybe 3/4, where she's sick for like an hour. It feels like she's just kind of in bed. An hour. And it's like, okay, where is she? It's like, and even leading up to that, she has some great moments.
Yeah.
But I feel like like you said, she kind of takes a back seat to De Niro and DiCaprio, and I'm kind of like, well, I want more though. I want more of her. I want more of Jesse Plemons. I feel like I did not get enough of him whatsoever.
Yeah, I didn't talk about him. I agree.
His best scene is him at the door asking Ernest about the murders, and that's about it. It's about pretty open shut case. I mean, these people incriminate themselves. Ernest, he's asking Ernest, "Oh, do you know so and so or whatever? Did you tell him to do the murder or whatever?" And he goes, "No, that was like his." I forget what he says. He's like, "Oh, it was him." And then he opens the door and it's that guy. Yeah. And he's like, "Well, I think we have to have a conversation." For me, honestly, my biggest gripe is it just felt fucking long.
Yeah, on top of everything else.
People are saying. I feel like a lot of people are saying that you don't feel. I really felt it. I got out. I was like, "Is it like?" I thought it was like 12 o'clock when we got out. We got in at what, 6:45?
Yeah,
I think it was, or 7:10. I think it was. And I was like, it feels like midnight. I feel like I've been sitting in the seat for like 4 or 5 hours. It just really didn't. It felt like, the length, I don't know. I don't think it was the editing. It just felt really long to me. And I hate to compare it to Oppenheimer, but Oppenheimer, I did not feel that like that was 3 hours.
Yeah.
That flew by. Maybe it's just the nature of the story too we're telling. like you said, with all the murders, and there's a lot of obviously conversation and stuff in this movie as well. So maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
but
the
yeah,
other
I
thing
did
too,
want.
though. Oppenheimer is all conversation. This is
Right.
I would say you could qualify this as an action movie. I mean, there's violence all over the place, explosions, like, and it still felt so long.
And I think to go back also to the point of you saying, and I know it's not just you, a lot of people said this.
Yeah.
Is the kind of Osage point of view kind of being lost,
Mm-hmm.
And I think the only real moment off the top of my head that is like a big moment where like, obviously everybody knows this is a terrible thing that's happening, but how are they feeling, is when they're kind of in the, I don't know what it was. It's like the big circle and, Ernest is there. And I think it was right after somebody died.
Oh yeah, where he gives the speech about
like the speech. Yeah.
When this money came, we didn't know what was coming with it.
Right.
Yeah. That's a
and
great
I think
scene
that's like,
with them. Yeah.
No, exactly. But it's like, well, I want more of that. Like, don't get me wrong. It's I don't know. I think I do agree with you. And again, like I keep saying, I'm sure I've seen a lot of other people say this. It's just we kind of got lost in the Burkhart, Ernest, and Hale story, and it's like, yeah, but we want to see the Sage story too. Like we want to see more of that point of view.
Yeah.
And I feel like it just kind of got lost in the 3.5 hours.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, is that like I've seen people say online like, well, there's only so much time. It's like
3.5 hours.
3.5 hours.
What do you mean it's so much time?
You could dedicate an entire hour just to Molly's character. But to answer what you said earlier, I actually think about it. I think her big, to me, what I think if she does get nominated for either, some people are saying lead actress. I don't think it would be lead actress. I think it would be supporting. And again, I feel like the movie did her a disservice of like, she doesn't have that big like FYC moment. You know what I mean? She doesn't have that big like Oscar campaign like, Lily Gladstone in Killers of the Flower Moon, and then like a big they're gonna do the My Color scene, and like that's such a subdued moment, and like I feel like Lily Gladstone brought 100% to this movie, and I feel like the movie like let her down. And to me, honestly, that takes the movie down for me. Like, against everything else, I think that just takes the movie down for me. But I think my personal favorite moment with her is in the trailer. It's that one where she's walking through the train station before she goes to Washington, and she's just seeing all the white people come off the train, and like that's where the direction is like fantastic. Where like you treat these white people as like these almost monsters, like really like but again, just doing that with shots and with staging and stuff is not enough. You need to actually live with the Osage characters and hear them say those things. Don't just like shoot that scene where they're looking frightened at them or something like that. Like, let me actually hear them. Like that other Osage character, I think his name was Henry, De Niro's neighbor, that would like was like depressed and stuff. That was another one that like he had a decent amount of screen time, probably the second most Osage screen time next to Lily Gladstone, in terms of characters, Osage characters. But even he, like, I feel like we barely actually knew that character. We just like knew things about him that Robert De Niro would say. You know what I mean? I don't know, but yeah. It wasn't for me. I really think it was just a miss. I'm really,
trying to. There was another thing I wanted to say.
Which is super disappointing, but. And like Brendan Fraser and like John.
That's what I was going to ask about about Brendan Fraser.
Yeah,
he's in the wrong movie. I think
he is in the wrong movie. Yeah, and I feel again. I don't think that any of these weird acting choices. Like I just said that Leonardo DiCaprio did not do it for me in this movie. You're talking about Leonardo DiCaprio, and I feel like all over the place.
Real quick, people saying that this is Leo's, maybe not a lot of people, but I feel like people have said that this is his best performance. Yeah. I think again, to me, Wolf of Wall Street is his best performance I've seen. And he's not bad. He's not bad. He's very good in this movie. Mm-hmm. But it's I don't know. I saw
stuff he's done before.
Snyder say this too on the hot mic the other day, where he's like, Leo does not play an idiot very well. And I guess after seeing, I could not believably.
Yeah,
I could definitely agree with that. Like it's. Yeah, I don't know. Trying to think if there's anything else. I'm sure there's like a bunch. Again, this movie's 3.5 hours.
My most hyped thing going into this movie was De Niro. I was really hoping that De Niro would like get into this like savage level, like, you know, kind of casino vibe, you know, Goodfellas era of just like villainy. And I felt like the movie didn't let him be a villain. It was like he, you know, it was like somebody said to him, okay, you're doing all these bad things, but you gotta remember, you're the nice guy. You're the guy that everybody likes, so nobody knows that you're doing this stuff.
Oh, I mean, he's big time Two-Face.
Well, exactly, but what do we get with Two-Face? We get him in private moments, you know, being angry. You know, he threatens Gordon's son, and then nobody knows about it because you have to preserve. Actually, that's a fucking great analogy that you just brought up. You have to preserve the idea of Harvey Dent and not know about Two-Face. There was no Two-Face moment with De Niro in this. He was just happy-go-lucky all the time, even up to the end. And I get that he has to like maintain his innocence or whatever. Yeah. But at a certain point in a 3.5-hour movie, man, you got to drop the act and give me a fucking great Robert De Niro like monologue or something where he's like, you know, listen, you gotta like, we need this money. Stop it. Like, there was never that moment. It was.
I think it's like, more of a. I think his evilness is more of a kind of under the radar, sinister type, you know, planning out evil as opposed to like what you're kind of saying. And granted, could he have used some sort of fiery moment, you know, as again, Brendan Fraser, I feel like kind of acting in a different movie, but he has that kind of, you know, moment where he's like, literally he's yelling at Leo about, he's like, you're not going to testify. And Leo's like, no, I am. And he's like, no, you're not. He's like, okay, I'm not. Which again, this is idiot. He gets manipulated so easily. Yeah. It's like not even like, so I do see what you mean, but I also again thought that it was kind of more of a, it's supposed to be where it's like, I am the mastermind almost to this whole thing.
You know what it is? And I just thought about it.
And he does, and sorry, real quick, he does that thing too where I did like about his character, not liked, but he is also on top of kind of being that kind of, you know, I'm using all these different terms, but puppet master or whatever.
Yeah.
Where he's setting up his own guys to basically walk into their own deaths. So he's tying up all these loose ends. You know, he tells the guy to go rob the place, and then he tells the guy that owns that place, he's like, oh, by the way, I heard you're gonna have a robbery later tonight.
Yeah.
So, you know, he basically ends up getting that guy killed. So I did enjoy, again, not enjoy, but like that worked for me. I guess.
I agree. I think that all of that was really good. I think what I've settled on hearing you talk now is, I think it comes down to the portrayal of the movie itself. Mm-hmm. I think to me, I'm like, in reality, this real guy that he's playing was a monster, a like disgusting, murderous, greedy monster. And I feel like Scorsese like should have found a way to show that, even if it's not true to reality, even if he did keep that facade up his whole life and always claimed innocence and stuff. I feel like there should have been some just absolutely like abhorrent, unredeeming moment. And again, he's setting these people up, and he's like, you go rob this bank. Hey, I think somebody's gonna rob your bank, and then, you know, he blows them away and stuff. Like, I get all that, but to me, because it's a Scorsese movie, I'm like, you're so kind of patterned and to treat that stuff as like almost like oh man, this is cool. Like, he's setting that guy up to get killed, and it's like, when in reality, it's like, these are like absolutely heinous things that like he's doing. I don't know. To me, it's so hard to put into words, like exactly what I'm trying to like get at. I just think
you're not alone too. You know, there's
I
a
know,
decent amount of people that
and I
are,
really
yeah,
I
feel the
just
same way.
really think it's that. I just think, for me, it's like, I feel like he lost that. I feel like he lost that thread somewhere in the 3 hours and 36 minutes. He lost that thread of like, you know, yes, he's like playing the kindly old like neighbor and stuff, and that he's trying to keep up appearances, but like,
yeah,
you got to show me that this guy is like evil incarnate.
Yeah, like when he walks in the sheriff's office, he goes, "I'm here to turn myself in."
Yeah.
And the sheriff's like, "No, you know," and he goes, "Slap the cuffs on me." Yeah, I insist.
Again, though, I loved. Again, one positive though about De Niro, like, he's still De Niro. Like, I still love the like when he shows up with the goggles and like, you know, so, like when they're in the very beginning. Those goggles are killing me. Yeah, when he goes, you know, I do like that money, sir, and he goes, oh yeah. He's like it was. What is it? Do you remember? I just remembered he does like that noise. He goes like, ooh, ooh. Do you remember that in the very beginning of the movie? He does like a coyote impression or something. But like,
so you will not be rewatching when it comes to Apple.
I will definitely not be rewatching in theaters. Maybe when it comes to Apple, maybe I'll give it another shot or watch it as like break it up. You know what I mean? As like I do with The Irishman. Like if I'll rewatch The Irishman, I'll usually do it.
More.
Oh yeah. To me, every time I watch The Irishman, it gets better. To me, I'm worried I'm either never gonna rewatch this movie ever. Or I'm gonna rewatch it and I'm just gonna hate it even more. Not that I hate it. I'm just gonna find more to dislike about it even more.
Yeah.
But
All right. So star rating for you?
I gave it 3 out of 5 because it's still a really good made movie.
3.5 out of 5. That's the review.
There you go. Let us know, what did you guys think of Killers of the Flower Moon below. We got into this nice little discussion here about it, but we want to know, what do you guys think? Are we crazy? Believe me, I know a lot of people that I work with that are like, what are you talking about, man? This movie is incredible. I'm talking 5 out of 5s, 4.5 out of 5s. And then if you, let alone the people I know, if you look at the internet, tons of people are saying that this movie is incredible. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe we're in the total minority. Maybe, you know, you think you got a totally different impression of the movie. Let us know down below. Make sure to like, comment, share this video with somebody else who saw Killers of the Flower Moon so that we can get their thoughts on it as well. Till then, thank you guys so much for joining us for this part of the review.